All right, hello everyone, and thank you for tuning in for another Hope at the End of the Tunnel podcast. I am one of your co-hosts, Juanita Woodson, joined by my co-host Joy Phalo. And tonight, super excited. We're always excited to bring on inspiring moms, right? Moms who are creating their own path, creating a legacy. And I'm gonna kick it to you, Joy, and you can introduce our guest for tonight.
Yes, I'm super excited about our guest, Miss Paula Banks. Like, you are amazing. You wear many hats. And I mean, just watching your work and everything that you do is like, oh my God, she is an amazing woman. So, with that being said, I'm going to let you introduce yourself. Let us know who you are, what you do, just whatever you want to share with us.
Hello, I am Paula Banks. I am a mom of two sons, Elijah and Zion, 24 and 22. I'm a wife, will be 25 years next month. Um, I am a author, creative educator, publisher, um, and I am so happy to be here and be a part of the Moments for Moms, Volume 4, and just excited to share my story again.
Yes, absolutely. So tonight, y'all, we are talking about legacy begins with her, right? So I'm super excited for us to dive into what that looks like. So we're gonna just go ahead and get started. So Paula, how did embracing your identity and purpose shape your journey as a mother and also as an entrepreneur?
So, finally shaping my identity as a mother. Um, as I had said before on previous podcasts, being a mom was like my whole life. After a while, um, I worked, but I did not like have, I didn't do anything else, like follow my dreams as far as wanting to become a writer. So that was something that was really near and dear to my heart because I've always wanted to be a writer. And finally stepping into that role um, was has been amazing, and I think I wouldn't have been able to step into it fully without being a mother first. Being a
Mm.
mother has taught me so many things about patience and just keeping my faith and just being resilient, resourceful, how to get things done on a small budget, because honestly, if I didn't know how to flip these coins, I wouldn't have been able to do my first book. So I didn't let those things stop me. um and I think being a mother was the way that it all planned out, me going through motherhood and raising my children and then doing the authorhood and authorship. It was perfect.
Yeah. And listen, before you, because I want to ask this question before you ask the next question, Joy. Right? Because so many women, they almost lose their identity in motherhood. And you mentioned that's who you were, right? You were just mom. So what was that moment for you when it hit? Like, I don't know who I am outside of being a mom.
Oh God, well, my kids started getting older. I think when you're a mom and your kids are every day in and out with you and you do everything
Yeah.
for them, and then as they get older and they do not need you in the same way, then you feel like, well, what am I supposed to do? You're finding yourself, you have no other interests outside of the home, you have your own friends and I'm just left. What am I supposed to do? And I didn't know what to do. It was very sad because I love my kids to death, and I'm just like, well, now what? It was so sad. Like I just felt like I was losing my kids, but I was also like, well, now is your chance to find yourself. Um, and that's what I did. Like I was struggling with my kids coming of age, especially when my son started college and my oldest son started college. And I was like, wow, what am I gonna do now? And I said, oh, I still have my younger son. But then when he graduated high school, I was like, what am I really gonna do now? Like, so it just left me with a lot of time to think and finally say either you're gonna, do something, find yourself again and start enjoying the thing that you love again, or you're just going to sit here miserable while they are out, living their lives as they should. So That's one thing when people always say when you have kids and say you have your husband or your wife, that you should always nurture that relationship as well, because your kids will leave you. They will go off and live your life. And it's very true. And that's true for the fact for just individually.
Mhm.
Like you still have to, even with the husband and wife dynamic, you still have to find other interests outside of your spouse. So it's the same thing with being a mom. So it was hard for me, very hard when my kids got older. But again, that's when I was the moment was like, you gotta figure it out. I didn't just want to sit around and be sad, because that this is mine. They have to grow up. This is what we've been raising them for, to go out and do the things that they have to do.
All right. So, Miss Paula, what advice do you have for moms who feel lost in their role and want to rediscover themselves?
I would say that even though that they feel like they're lost or they lost their voice, they really haven't. It's just buried. I mean, you had a voice before you became a mother, whatever it was, it's still there. You just haven't nurtured it. Same thing what I always talk about with parents nurturing their children's voice. They have to nurture their own voice as well. And once you get back to doing that, you will start to lean back into who you are, your identity outside of motherhood. But like everything else, you have to spend time with yourself. You have to rediscover yourself. What do you like? What do you don't like? Because I became a mother at 23, I think, and things that I loved then, I don't love now, and things that I used to, enjoy doing, it's not as fun anymore. A concert back then would be amazing, but standing up for 10 hours or 8 hours, that's not something I want to do. So you just have to spend time with yourself, see what you don't like and you do like, and you have that time to, you have to spend that time with yourself. You have to make time for yourself to get to know yourself. And some people be like, what are you saying? What does that mean? I mean, it's self-care, basically. I finding your identity outside of motherhood is very important, because you will definitely, you can lose yourself. You will lose yourself at some point. At some point throughout motherhood, it can be the beginning, the middle. You will lose yourself, and if you don't recognize that, you know, it's detrimental to yourself, because you have to live outside of your children, and that's just a fact. They will leave and they will live their lives, and you have to be able to say, okay, I have to sit with myself, I have to be with myself, and you have to learn yourself all over again, and that's okay. You've been someone else's, caregiver for 18 plus years. It's time to get to rediscover yourself and who you are.
I do have something. Since you said losing yourself, and I know everyone looks different. Losing yourself looks different. But are there some signs maybe that you think that when you're going through something that maybe we can maybe be a preventative of losing themselves? And once they notice it, they can, kind of get back on track.
I would say, like, just, I know it may sound vain, but letting your appearance go. Some women are just like, well, I don't, I'm in the house all day, I'm taking care of kids all day. Why get dressed up? Why put on some clothes? Why do this? But that makes you fall in such a rut. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it makes you, and I can even say that from working from home every day. Like I don't have to get dressed up, but there's days I'm like, you know what? Let me put on my clothes. Let me give myself a routine. It just makes myself feel better. You know, and I think as moms, especially moms who stay at home and they're with their kids all day long, you have to pick moments where that are things that are going to make you or give you a pick me up or make you feel like you're a part of, I don't know, I don't want to say the world, but like just a part of something bigger than just being a mom. Even if that's putting on a clean shirt or picking out an outfit or buying cute comfy clothes just to be at home, just things like that. But I think once you start to let your appearance go and you're like, I don't care, I'm just in the house, I'm just doing this, I think that's a sign where you just don't care. I don't want to say care, you're just you're just giving in to like, well, this is my life, this is it, I'm just a mom. You're not thinking past that. So I would say definitely with, not caring about your appearance. And again, I hope that doesn't sound vain, but I just know for me, it's not look wise. I'm just saying, like, combing your hair, you know, doing your nails, if that's something you used to do and you just don't do it anymore. You know what I mean? Those are things where you're just like, those are things where you're like, okay, that's a sign. Like maybe that's where you should be like, okay, I love getting my nails done, and I just stopped because I'm just a mom, or nobody's gonna see him anyway, you know. And I think we all fall into those type of traps. Um, and I was just in one of those, you know, recently. Like, haven't gotten dressed a lot, and you know, haven't got my hair cut, and I'm just like, okay, if you let yourself keep going, next thing you know, you won't be showering for 2 days or something. So you just got to remind yourself that, okay, I have to do this for me. For me, even if nobody sees me, I got to do it for me to make myself feel good.
Yes, listen, I get all of that working from home, having my son, he's getting ready to graduate next year. So all of those things, like, okay, so what do I do when he's done? Even though you have the businesses, you have the books, you have all the things, our identity is still so wrapped in being a mom. So you can lose sight of those small things, like, hey, getting up, even if you're not leaving the house, putting some nice clothes on, combing your hair, brushing your hair, putting on some makeup. Listen, my husband will say, "Where are you going? Why you have makeup on?" Listen, for me,
No, it's for me.
for me today, yeah. So it's definitely not vain. I think it's, you have to be able to point out those moments where you do start to notice that you're letting yourself go a little bit, right? You have to remember yourself. So, what does legacy look like for you, right? In this new season of your life, I know you're auntie now. Listen, I hear her in the background. We're gonna give her a shout out. So you're auntie now, but you do all the other amazing things. So you're a creative teacher. So tell us a little bit about what that looks like and how it's helping you to now build a new legacy for yourself.
So the creative educator portion is something that I was really hesitant to say because I'm not an educator. I don't have a degree in education or writing or anything of that nature, but I do help people, parents, kids with their creativity, ways to bring it out, you know, how to nurture it. And I'm teaching that. So that is what the creator educator part comes in. And my legacy, I want to be able to help parents really nurture their kids' voices. It's so real for me because when I was a kid, I shrunk. I was had my self esteem was dead, my confidence was dead. Being and brought up in the time where you can ask a question and then you're like, why are you being smart? And I'm just curious, you know what I'm saying? And I never said anything because I thought that what I had to say was not important. And that feeling has traveled with me my entire life. Even to this day, I really struggle with thinking, is my voice, what I'm saying, is it valuable? Are people actually listening? Am I making a difference? I do not want any child to have to be 47 years old to think those thoughts ever. Like, because it lives with you so much. And I want them to know now. And I can understand after having my niece for these 2 weeks, I understand that nurturing a child's voice and wanting to help them tell their story is not high on parents' priority list because they're doing so many other things. But my goal is to help them just be more intentional with it. The things that they need to do are just things that they just do a little shift, a little pivot, not giving them more to do, just helping them be more intentional. And that's what I want my legacy to be, because it's storytelling is great, but it goes back to the confidence to tell their story, to speak about what's important to them. Because when kids don't feel safe to speak, they're not going to speak. And they're going to stifle themselves. So I want my legacy to be me helping kids not shrink, just to be able to tell their stories and write their stories. And I'm excited about that. I have gone back and forth with, like, is this where I'm supposed to be doing, or am I supposed to be doing that? I mean, there's so many things. I got so many ideas, but then you're like, okay, you can't really execute all these things at once. So when you sit and you pray about these things, it goes so much deeper than that for me, because again, it goes back to my childhood, just being silenced. And that is it's such a hurtful thing to be silenced. And then you have to unlearn that. And I'm still in it. You know what I mean? And it makes me sad that I'm still, after all the things that I've done, all the things that I do, I'm still over here wondering, does my voice matter? Does what I say matter? And I don't want kids to feel like that. I really don't. So that is what I'm really focused on right now. And that is what I want my legacy to be for kids now and in the future.
You're very passionate about what you do, and it shows every day when you post, even in this project with Moments for Mom Volume 4. So if you're watching, be on the lookout for that. But anyways, you are so very passionate about it, and you can tell that it comes from a very good place. It comes from a genuine place. And I like that, we all go through things for a reason, and the fact that you want, kids at whatever age not to wonder or have any second thoughts or whatever, that you're starting early. And I encourage every parent to look up Paula Banks and see what she has going on, because she is doing some amazing things.
Thank you. Thank you. I think I'm just trying to heal that little girl in me that was silenced for so long, or just didn't have the courage to speak up about, or just say the things I wanted to say. And I'm doing that now, even though it still doesn't feel, I still have my moments, but it took a long time to get here. But I want to, I had to go through this so I can teach others and the parents what to do to help their kids.
So I want to ask this question, right? Because so many people, right, we get to a place where it's like, I see I'm doing these great things, right? You found your identity, but now you're dealing with the imposter syndrome that comes from finding your identity. And I know that, listen, you're not the only mom. I'm sure there's a lot of moms out there who face this. So, what are some things that you do to kind of overcome that imposter syndrome and embrace the identity that you now own?
I do a lot of praying. I gotta pray because my mind will go crazy. Like I can, girl, I would think up the worst scenarios, and I would just go down this rabbit hole. So I just try to pray. I try to focus on just what I'm doing, and not what everybody else is doing. Because sometimes you get days when you feel like you're doing and doing and doing and doing, and then you open Instagram or Facebook and you see somebody like getting, I sold 100 books, or I just made 5,000 sales, and you're like, dang, what am I not doing right? And then you go back and be like, well, let me reevaluate. And then that's where you mess up, because that's not what you're supposed to be doing. I always sit and when my moments with God, and be like, why is this happening? Or why does this person have this? Or if I'm making an impact, where are these coins at? Or like, what is going on? You know what I mean? Like, you feel like you're doing these things in vain. And then I had to learn that, I everybody wants to make money or make a profit, but it has come to me that it's not always about the profit. You know what I mean? Like, I love to create. I love to help. I'm passionate about what I'm doing. If I make money in it, I'm very happy about that. But if I was in it for the money, I would literally have washed my hands with authorship, entrepreneurship a long time ago. Like, real talk. Like, I would have been done. So I'm just passionate about that. And I go back and forth when I pray, like, okay, I'm not making this amount of money and I'm this amount of money, but I still feel like I can't quit. I'm in it, regardless of what's going on. That's just, sometimes I want to throw in the towel, but I still just want to continue to move forward. But I just tend to look at what I'm doing. And sometimes I'll go back and look at all the things I've accomplished, because we tend to forget about that. Like, from the time that I dropped my first book to today, I can sit and look and be like, you did that. Or somebody will send a message to me out of the blue, and I'm like, oh, thank you, right when I needed it. So I just tend to try to just focus on what I'm doing, my lane, what God has called me to do. Even though there's days that it's hard, I try to do that the best I can. And then imposter syndrome is something that I'm just really, really working on, because it still keeps me from growing at sometimes. Like, there's opportunities that'll come and I'll be like, I'm not ready. Like, if someone wants me to speak, I don't feel like I'm good enough to be a speaker in front of a room and hold an audience. So I'll be like, no, sorry, I can't, or I'll decline, because that's the imposter syndrome winning. You know what I mean? So I still struggle with it, but I just keep going. I just keep going. One day I'll say yes to a speaking engagement, but right now imposter syndrome has got me in a chokehold with that.
Well,
Yes.
well, Miss Paula, we are going to say that imposter syndrome does not have you in a chokehold. You will start accepting these speaking engagements because there is something in you that someone needs to hear.
Yes.
Okay, so you gotta. I'm just gonna say it. Stop hiding behind the keyboard, ma'am, and get out there. You have it in you. Trust me. So don't worry about that, because whoever wants you to speak, I feel like I'm preaching. Whoever has invited you to speak, they see something valuable in you. They see something great in you. So tell imposter he gotta go. He does not live inside of you anymore.
It's definitely a fight
I know.
every day, me and imposter syndrome.
Yes.
And I know we all deal with it, and everybody deals with it their own way. But
You
I
got
think
this, girl.
imposter syndrome goes deeper to how you react to it. For me, is I don't feel like I'm good enough for certain things, so that keeps me from accepting things that I feel that shouldn't be coming my way. So that's something that, like, if I have to work on that, so the imposter syndrome doesn't get the best of me. So it still has, I'm still working on in that situation, feeling that I'm good enough for not
You are.
necessarily me, but seeing, you know,
You've came so far.
Yes.
You've came so far not to let the devil win, because those are little voices in your head trying to
yes,
tell.
there are definitely voices in the head, like, girl, you're
You
not
got
good.
this, girl.
They gonna see right through you. You don't have to agree, so you go back and forth, and you be like, what, you're right. You're right. So it's a lot of back and forth. But yeah, I'm working on that imposter syndrome every day, every single day.
All right. So how has your faith sustained you during difficult seasons of motherhood and business?
For business, my faith has sustained me the entire time, because when I first started, I didn't know what I was doing. I had no idea. When I tell you I didn't know anything about publishing a book, and today I could publish a book in a moment. You know what I mean? Like, I know the steps, I know how to do it, but I didn't know what I was doing. But I just have faith that God was going, if he said, okay, write this book, and he was going to make sure that it get written. It didn't have to be perfect. He didn't say write this perfect book. He just said write this book. So I did, and I have faith that it would work out. With my kids, like, being a mother, I never wanted to be a mother. It was not something I wanted to do. And that's what I actually wrote about in my volume 4 chapter. I didn't want to be a mom. It was not on my bucket list. And not that I didn't like kids. It was just that I have abandonment issues. My father left me. I didn't know if that was going to be like a gene that followed me, but I want to abandon my own kids, So I was like, I'm cool on that. And then I met my husband, things changed, but I still felt like I wouldn't have that motherly instinct with my kids. So that was very worrisome for me. Like it was something that when I was pregnant was something that really weighed heavily on me. But I prayed and I had faith that God would be like, you're not going to be like your father. Like you're not going to abandon your child. You're not going to not have that motherly instinct. And that really pulled me through because I was really struggling with that when I was pregnant. You know, you'll see in my chapter that it was something that really up until way into adulthood that has affected me not having my father. So being a child and being a young adult, I'm thinking like, well, who would not want to be part of their kid's life? Maybe it's something that will be passed down to me. So I never wanted to put that on a child, how I felt. So I never wanted kids until I met my husband, and because he wanted kids and he saw something in me, was like, you would be a great mother. So, my faith with my entire first pregnancy was strong because I was really going through it mentally with that, from that aspect of not wanting to put a child through what I went through, abandoning or not feeling that motherly instinct with them.
Listen, so when we think about, oof, because you said a lot, right? And I wish I could dive into each piece that you said, but I'm sitting here and I'm listening to you, and I can hear where some of those issues, right? Like the abandonment issues, feeling like you don't have a voice when you were a child. And now God is working all those things out for your good because now you're helping people. So when you say you get the speaking engagements, think about how it ties back into, oh, I don't feel like my voice matters when I was a child. Right. And we know that so much of our identity is tied into who our parents are, knowing who they are or who they aren't. And I think that healing that part of you will help you to really like step fully into the whole of who Paula Banks is, right? And owning your voice entirely. Yeah.
Yeah, that is something I struggle with. I think I still struggle with it. If I catch a glimpse of a father and daughter, it still hurts. You know what I'm saying? And being abandoned by your father makes you feel like, why? Like I'm not good enough. So I've carried that my entire life. Girl, I'm make you cry.
I'm sitting here and I'm trying to hold it back because
Don't even do it.
my son he deals with that, right? And so that's something that I really pray about, like, okay, who will he be when he gets older, because he's such a great kid, but so much of who you are is tied into who your father is, and feeling like well, do they care about me? Was I not good enough? So he may not say those things out loud, but we know that you have those voices in your head, so it's speaking life to it. Yeah.
Yeah, feel that
And
way.
that's when his stepdad comes along, that he
Listen.
will remember
Absolutely.
every single thing.
Yeah.
I have 3, and that's what I see. So
Mhm.
I just want to give you that reassurance.
Yeah.
Yes, it's definitely rough. I'm not healed from that at all. And then when you give someone chance after chance after chance, and they say they want to be in your life, and then they still do the same thing, you eventually have to say, okay, I'm done, because I have to protect my heart and how I feel. But it still leaves you,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So that is, I wasn't sure if I wanted to write about that,
Yeah.
my chapter, but I was like, that's it's real. I deal with it every time. And I wanted moms to see that, even though you've been abandoned, or you didn't have that love from your father or mother or whatever. I mean, it's not your whole story. It's definitely not your whole story. My life did not turn out the way that I thought it would. Without me not having a father, I thought I'd be out here, no kids, living it up, chilling.
Yeah.
Not the case at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, God.
Thank God that he is a father to the fatherless, right? Thank God that he is a comforter. Thank God. So, and I think that part of like just surrendering, that surrender of, maybe this isn't ideal. This isn't what I wanted. Of course, who doesn't want their father, their mother to be a part of their life? But full surrender in, God, I know the plans that you have for me, plans to prosper and not to harm me, right? Because look at you now, right? Look at you building your legacy, but helping children at a young age to create and build their legacy, to make sure that parents know that their kids, their voices matter, right? So that's full surrender, because you could have said no.
Yeah,
There's full surrender in that. So that leads me to the next question. So what is one lesson that you have learned in surrender as a mother, as a woman?
I believe the lesson that I learned when I in surrender is God knows best. I know that sometimes it's hard for us as humans to want to be able to control everything, and I am one of those people. I like to I like to control. It's just, I like to make sure, like, well, if I can do it, I can do it. But there's certain things that I have no control over, and I have no other choice but to surrender it over. And I've learned that even though it doesn't look like anything is happening, God is always working. And I've seen it in real time, and when I think, like, you know what, maybe this is not what I need to be doing, or is this really my purpose? God will be like, boom, yes, this is what you're supposed to be doing. So even the lesson is, even if it feels like nothing is happening, in those moments of surrender and stillness, God is working. And it may be time, he works on his own time, which is never what we want, but it always comes on time. It's always the right time. And then when you sit back and you look back, you be like, you know what? Like I always say, me and my husband wanted to buy a house. We wanted to buy a house forever and ever, and it was always something. So we just said, you know what? Forget it. And COVID came, smack dab in the middle of COVID. We got a whole house. I mean, wasn't even trying. We wasn't even looking. We had to say, oh no, COVID's happening. It's not going to happen. We done. He was always working. We just had to surrender that to him and let him do it in his own time. We didn't know it would be COVID time, but it happened. So when you live long and you start having life lessons, and then you get to see, like, okay, let me just let him work. Let him cook and do his thing, because it's going to be so much better than what you thought. I always go back to the one book. Just wanted that one book. That's all I wanted to in this game. One book. Nothing more, nothing less. And I could never have seen what my life would be like this. I no clue. No, like 5 years ago, I wanted to be a plus size fashion person. And I had a whole thrifting page about clothes. I wasn't thinking about writing books and helping kids. So this is definitely not what I had in plan, but this is what he had in plan. So I guess he was preparing me for all the things that I've been through for these moments. And that's what I look like. I look at it as. So if you're a mother and you feel like you're stuck, or you're still, or you're waiting and waiting, it's going to happen. Just keep living, because he's doing it. He's in the front, he's in the back. Here, it's already done. That's what I always say to myself. Whatever it is, it's already done. It's already done. That's it. It's already done. So, you waiting on, it's going to be, well, however it's going to work out, he's already worked it out. It may not be the way you wanted it, or look how you wanted it, but it's done. And that helps me get through a lot of things every day.
Now, Miss Paula, I have a question. Because I don't know if Juanita caught this or not. But you was going to be a model, right? That's what you wanted to do?
Yeah.
But you turned it down. Speaking engagements. Why? Because you don't have to talk. Because you don't have to talk when you model. You just walking and showing their pretty face.
I had a whole following on Instagram page. I was doing brand stuff. And I had talk. I just, show these clothes, and I was it.
Okay.
But speaking has always been, is very hard for me. I feel like people are looking at me, they're judging me, there's things like whispering, like she don't know what she's doing. So it's very overwhelming, and I get anxious. So it's a real big issue for me to talk in front of people because of my childhood.
Right. It's okay, and I'm not trying to highlight that, but I genuinely wanted to know the difference, because I'm like, okay, now you finna be a model, but you okay anyway. So that was just one of those things. I just like, hold on.
And people will be like, oh, you don't like to talk, but you'll get on a video and or you like to take pictures, or you'll get on a video and show whatever. And I said, yeah, but I don't have to say anything. So
Right.
when
It
that
makes sense.
I have to open my mouth, it's over for me. I don't give people eye contact a lot because I have, insecurity. So it's a whole bundle of things that lead to, me stunting my growth. Even though I've grown, I could probably be much farther if I
Right.
would be healed from these things that I deal with, from wounds from my past.
Right. Okay. Okay. So we're getting to the end of this thing, Miss Paula. What would you say to the mom who feels like she's lost her voice or her dreams along the way? What's one piece of advice?
You're not lost. You just got to take some time to find yourself again. Like I said before, you need to spend some time with yourself, figure out what you like and what you don't like now at whatever age you're at, or, you have to it's like meeting a new person, a new friend, a new boyfriend. You got to get to know them again. You know what I mean? A friend you ain't seen in a while. Treat it like that. Take yourself out to just spend time with you. Because I always say to myself, like, I want to make sure that when I'm by myself, do I enjoy my own company? I do, very much so. So you have to get to learn yourself, what you like. Don't worry what everybody else thinks. I love the type of TV I watch or stuff. People always got something to say about it, but that's who I am right now. They're like, oh, back in the day, you used to know. I don't enjoy it anymore. These are the things I like. And sit with that. Stand 10 toes down in what you like and what you don't like. You know what I mean? Don't people please at this point in your life because someone thinks it's stupid or corny or whatever. You enjoy, or you find things that make you happy. If that's watching goldfish at the fish store, then that's so be it. That's what you like to do. Find those things that make you happy again, that bring joy to yourself. If it's sitting on your sofa and watching, body cam footage on YouTube, um, then that's what you do. You know what I mean? Like, that's just you have to find little things that make you happy. And when you keep finding little things that make you happy, you'll find your identity. You'll find you know you'll know who you are more outside of being a mom. You know what I mean? And it's a beautiful thing. It doesn't have to be big and extravagant. It's just little moments or just little things that you be like, you know what, I really like that. I think that's, and those are, you get excited to discover these things about yourself. Oh, I really enjoy those things. So yeah, just do you, be who you are. Once you find that person, girl, you'd be so happy, especially being a mom all this time and you have other interests. It's freeing. And it's just, I love it. I love my kids. I love my sons, but I also love the things that I'm doing now with the book and, helping the kids and other things that I'm working on. I enjoy it very much because it's something for me. It's mine. It's not my kids. It's not my husband's. It's mine, and I love that for myself. And I want other moms to have that something as well.
Yes, absolutely. And I want to just say this, right? When we think about finding those things that make you genuinely happy, that don't have anything to do with anybody else, please understand we still love our kids. We still love our spouses. But I think in order for you to be your best self for them, you have to love yourself a little bit more.
You definitely do, because they depend on mom for everything. Like, go to in my house. If I go down, it's the ebb and flow is over. So I have to make sure that I'm filled with joy. I'm happy. I give myself self-care. If I'm feeling anxious, I have to know what I have to do to, get back on track, because I do have a family that depends on me, and I want to be there for them, the best version of myself. And I can't do that if I never take time for myself.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Paula, this has been amazing. I know there's been, I hope a lot of healing, right? I hope that when they check out this episode, they find that like your transparency, your realness, your vulnerability is definitely healing.
Brought me to tears on this.
Yeah. I'm so sorry, but yes, I know all of these things, they have to be said. Your voice matters, and I think that the more you show up, you remind me that my voice matters. You're reminding the next generation that their voice matters. So what would you say, hope at the end of the tunnel looks like for someone who lost their voice but now has found it?
Whew. Hope at the end of the tunnel looks like never silencing yourself again, never not speaking your truth, never not saying something because you think that others will ridicule or judge you, um, and always saying what matters to you because your voice does matter. Me, the light at the end of the tunnel is never ever doubting that my voice holds weight. And I can see it, not all the way there, but I'm so far than where I've come since I was a little girl from last year, you know. So that is my light at the end of the tunnel, to finally walk in my purpose so confidently, that and to know that my voice holds weight, and that what I say and when I open my mouth, people do listen. Um, and that's my light at the end of the tunnel. And whoever's voice who's feeling like they don't have a voice, or their voice has been, dimmed, I think that's their light at the end of the tunnel too. To um, never be silenced, never silence themselves.
Ooh, this has been good. This has been so good. Listen, so good. I can't.
Yeah, it was, you touched my wound, but it was good to,
Yeah.
to talk about it, and then to write about it was very, very, very therapeutic for me to, because I don't really talk about like my father and abandonment, and sometimes people may think, oh, she has it all together, or she doesn't have things she's dealing with, but I got a whole issue with abandonment. My father that I don't like, and we don't talk, and I didn't want to be a mom, but got two kids. I think everybody has a story, so I wanted to share that, because what you see on Instagram is what I choose to show you. It's not a place for me. My platform is not a place for me to talk about abandonment issues and like my father issues, because it's an uplifting place for kids. But there is a story of how I got there, why I'm, as you said, why I'm so passionate about helping kids find their voice. So I figured that the Moment for Mom Volume 4 would be the best platform for me to tell that side of my story, so people can get a kind of gist of, where did Story Hustle come from? Where did this book come from? Why is she always talking about nurturing somebody's voice? So I thought that would be the best way to do it. And it was therapeutic for me to write about it. I mean, I cried a few times because it's such a fresh wound. You would think it wouldn't be, but it really is. So thank you for, making me cry many times this week.
Oh,
Listen, we've thrown the word out, Moments for Mom, Volume 4, and Moments for Mom. Juanita, just give us a little snippet, because the viewers are probably wondering, what is Moments for Moms? Like, let them know real quick.
yes, listen. So Moments for Moms Legacy Unlocked. So we're on volume 4, and this volume is inspiration and wisdom for every season of motherhood. Um and I think this one's gonna do it, y'all. It really is like that light at the end of the tunnel. Because there are so many moms who feel like they're suffering in silence. There are so many moms who go through things that can help the next generation of mothers that are coming up. And that's what Moments for Moms is all about. And this community, it was created to help mothers to build legacy of their own, right? So hope at the end of the tunnel. So all of this, like, it's an extension of what that looks like, right? That's what it is, y'all.
Yes, great movement. I'm so pleased, so happy and proud to be a part of it, because it helps me every day. I mean, like this. this podcast right here, just, it helps me, because people, it's hard to, you don't want to put like your trauma or your whatever you're doing on other people. And sometimes people just don't want to hear it. So, you just suffer in silence. You just, you write in your journal, but sometimes your journal don't talk back, you know what I mean? And sometimes you just want to know that you're not alone in, or somebody else feels the same way, or you know what, I dealt with that. This is what I did. Sometimes you just need that ear, or that feedback from someone who knows what you're going through.
Yes, community, and I think that's something that so many of us miss. Listen, I know we can keep going on and on, but community, and I think that's important, right? And I think that's what we're building here with the podcast, with the community, being able to create a safe space so you can come and you can share those things, and there's no judgment, and you can be free, and then we can pour back into you, and you can pour back into us, and I think that's what's so important. So when people listen, they'll know, okay, she got Joy. What is your say? She got through it, so I can get through it too.
If I got through it, you can too.
Listen,
Yes.
yeah, and I think that's it. So, this is good, y'all. So Paula, she gonna have to come back on because I know there's so much more that we can talk about, but we want to make sure we give you that opportunity. If you can share, how can we connect with you on social media and keep up with the great things that you're doing?
You can connect with me on social media. I have 3 social media Instagram pages. So one is author Paula Banks. And then I have my Lit Kids Create. That is the movement that I started for nurturing kids' voices and about storytelling. And then I have my publishing page, EION, EION Books. And that is where my publishing page is. I am on Facebook at Paula Watkins-Banks. Yes. So that's my and my website is EIONBooks.com.
Well, thank you so much, Paula, for coming on, sharing with us. You are a gem to our community, all the great things that you do behind the scenes. So definitely thankful for you. Listeners, please make sure, I am asking, when you watch our episodes, leave us a review, right? Give us some feedback. Share one takeaway that you got from listening to the episode. Share this with a mom, a sister, a brother, a auntie, anybody, right? Somebody who needs to hear, needs to see that there is hope at the end of the tunnel. So we want you to like, subscribe, and share, and definitely connect with us on social media. Until next time, y'all take care.